So, guys, this right here, I'm not even gonna talk about this. I could care less about this formula. Okay? I'm not gonna have, there shouldn't be any math on this test aside from what we were doing earlier with determining, you know, the end of the near zone, the end of the focal depth, things of that nature.
It's helpful it's direct or indirect, you know, the relationship.
This is helpful for
Yeah,
you?
I mean, focus depth direct with diameter, direct with the frequency, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You just seeing the
So
relationship.
this one, don't
You're
forget
seeing
this
the
one.
relationships.
Yeah.
Okay. Apology. Again, I won't have any formulas or math for you to do on the, and there won't be any math on your SPI.
Yeah.
That's why I'm jumping over this. Okay?
Oh, there's no math? I thought you
Aside from the easy conversion we're doing or something like that, it's not going to be any deep math where you're going to have to memorize every single formula we learn. Okay? So no, simple math. But these are the relationships in soft tissue that describe diameter, frequency, and focal depth. Okay? Remember, guys, focal depth directly related to transducer diameter and transducer frequency. Okay? All right. So, a pair of 6 megahertz probes are identical, except for the active element. Okay? Except for the PZT. All right. The active element diameters are 6 millimeters and 10 millimeters. Which probe will have the shallower focus? Again, what's our relationship between focal depth and what's it asking us about?
Direct.
And our focus. What's our relationship? Direct relationships. Okay. So out of these two, if they're direct, we're looking for the one with the shallower focus. Which one of these, a 6 millimeter or 10 millimeter active element, is going to provide us with the shallower focus?
6 millimeter.
The 6 millimeter transducer, right? Because they're directly related. Okay. So of course we're going to look for the smallest one because that's going to produce the shallowest focus. Okay. We good, Pat?
Say that's the high frequency?
Huh?
I'm still saying that's high frequency.
The frequencies are exactly the same.
Okay.
The megahertz are exactly the same. Only thing difference is the active element. Don't get confused by all the fluff in the question. Don't get confused by all the fluff in the question. Okay. Number 2, guys, a pair of 9 millimeter probes are identical except for the frequency. Okay, which is 3 megahertz and 6 megahertz. Which probe will have the deeper focus?
6.
Our higher frequency transducer, right? Is going to have the deeper focus because the focal depth and frequency are directly related. All right? So our 6 megahertz transducer is going to provide us with the deeper focus. All right? Our active element and our near zone length, our focal depth, or our focal length are directly related. Is that statement true or false?
False.
False? That statement is true. That statement is true. That's what we've been talking about here, right? Don't get confused. When it's actually about the near zone length, it's actually about the depth of the focus, right? Because the near zone length is from the transducer to the focus, right? So so it's saying that, meaning that if our focus is shallower, our near zone length is shorter, right? If our focus is deeper, our near zone length is longer, correct? All right. So our active element and our near zone length. If I have a bigger active element, what's going to happen to the depth of my focus? It's going to be longer, right? Okay, so my near zone length is also going to be longer. Okay, so of course, the size of our active element and our near zone length are going to be directly related, guys. That's a true statement. That's a true statement.
Is active element is the number?
Active element is the PZT.
I know, but like it's because if you compare between NGL and active element, it's the protein active element diameter, right? Diameter. I don't see the diameter, so that's why I say false.
I can't give you every. I gotta get to put a big
I know
one
that's
to a spoon
transducer.
feature.
So right there, you talk about the diameter, not the thickness.
Absolutely, the diameter.
Yeah.
We're talking about the diameter. Diameter. Active
So
element.
the diameter of the near zone and the active element are the same size.
No. Remember, diameter is the size of the PZT element. Okay. Our near zone length is the distance from the transducer to the focus. Okay.
So-
Right now we're talking about focal depth. Focal depth is another term for near zone length, right? All I'm doing is putting the synonyms in there, so you guys know the difference. That's all I'm doing is putting the synonyms in there. Okay. Near zone length also goes by the focal depth, and what else?
Near zone,
Focal depth.
focal
and
length,
near zone.
focal length.
And focal length. And focal length. Okay? So all I'm asking you is that the size of the active element and the near zone length, are they directly related? Definitely. Because if my transducer diameter get bigger, my near zone length is also going to get longer. Okay? My transducer diameter is smaller, my near zone length and my focus is going to be shallower. My near zone length is going to be shorter. Okay? All right? So, what about wavelength and focal depth?
True.
Are inversely related.
True.
False.
True.
Trues?
True.
Trues? Trues, raise your hand.
I am sure true.
Trues, raise your hand.
False.
True.
Falses, raise your hand. Falses. Okay, we're what and what. I have a lot of people that didn't decide on
True.
what.
I am sure
Okay.
true.
This is why I was talking about where you can't lose the information that we gained from previous chapters, right? We know. We haven't even talked about wavelength, right? We haven't talked about wavelength at all.
No, you're talking now.
But we-
one bench back. One
Yeah,
bench
that's
back.
true. That's true.
One bench back.
But not only that, we know the relationship between wavelength and frequency,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What's the relationship between wavelength and frequency? Inversely related, right?
Inverse.
So of course, our wavelength and our focal depth are going to be inversely related because our wavelength is inversely related to our frequency. I know Sophie, he loved the numbers. I'm just trying to keep it in the straight
No,
terms
just
for you
follow.
guys.
Just follow.
In the straight terms for you guys. So because you can't forget that information, right?
Uh,
we already know that
That's the
relationship.
formula.
We already know the relationship between wavelength and frequency. Okay.
You got it from the
So
formula.
okay, if the formula definitely helps you guys out to understand it, definitely use those. Definitely use those. They really help you guys out. Okay. And that's also a true statement. Also, and again, I just gave you focal depth. I just gave you another synonym for near zone length or focal length. You have to know all of those terms.
Good job. Good job.
All those terms and what they mean. Sophie was 100% sure, and he was
Yeah.
right. 100% sure.
I sleep good last
Number 2 is, this is the PZT was like for whatever, then would that change?
The who?
For number 2, so PZT, if it would be like our transmission, would that answer change?
I would need a lot more information. You know, to know. I would have to know how many PZT elements are within that transmission. But I'm sure it would change. I'm sure it would change because we're talking about our diagnostic. We're talking about adjustable focus systems. Right here, we're talking about fixed focus. Okay? We're talking about a fixed
The
focus.
one,
The one element. We're talking about the one element. So I'm sure it would change. I'm sure it would change. All right, guys? Good. Guys, we're going to pick up the next lecture on the sound beam divergence. All right? Sound beam divergence.
Rika, who next Wednesdays?
Depends if we get time.